friends, Amanda here. Welcome back to Handmade Not Hallmark. Today I've got this fun slimline card featuring some awesome products from Hello Bluebird and some great ink blending. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. Today I'm going to be using the Frightful Littles bits from Hello Bluebird, as well as the high-rise tree and a few elements from other stamp sets from Hello Bluebird as well. First thing I did was I die cut all of my elements and stamped all of my images just to save some time in the video and to make the process go by a little bit faster. The first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to ink blend my background panel so that I had an opportunity to draw completely before I started assembling my card. I'm going in with some Distress Oxide inks. I am using Ripe Persimmon to start at the bottom, and I wanted it to be kind of like a moody kind of sunset scene. And I'm going to go in with the Ripe Persimmon, then I'm going in with Crackling Campfire. I'm going to blend those two together really well until I'm happy with the blend, and I'm using my Waffle Flower blender brushes. Next I'm going in with Seedless Preserves. Going to go back and forth as well. I thought these colors just looked so perfect together. I love the way that they look. I think it's perfect for fall and Halloween kind of sunset scenes. Next I'm going in with Chipped Sapphire. I think these two work really well together because Chipped Sapphire has more of purple undertones and it goes well with the Seedless Preserves. And then the last color I'm going to ink blend with is Black Soot to kind of finish off my night sky. And I just loved how this turned out. I was super pleased with the blend, and I'm using Bristol Smooth cardstock because it is my preferred cardstock for ink blending. I think it works really, really well. But you could use any that you like. I just prefer Bristol Smooth. So going back and forth until I'm completely happy with it, and then I'm going to spritz the background with some water just to give it a little bit of distressing, get that oxidation going with the inks, pat it with a paper towel, and then I'm also going to spritz it with some shimmer powder that I have. I've created it using just water and Perfect Pearl powder. You could do this any way you like, and then I'm just spritzing the entire background, and then I'm going to hit it with my heat gun and let it kind of sit off to the side to dry. I'm going to hit it with my heat gun here just to kind of speed along the drying process. Next I'm going to ink blend my other elements. These are all die cut from the high-rise slimline tree die from Hello Bluebird, and I'm going to ink up the different elements. I've already pre-cut them out of some colored cardstock, but I wanted to add a little bit of dimension and interest with some more ink. So I've got Rustic Wilderness here, and I'm just ink blending along the edge to give it some interest, and then I'm going to take that same ink and I'm going to kind of spritz the leftovers on my mat here, and I'm just going to kind of do some splatters. Again, this is optional. I just wanted to kind of add a little bit of interest, and I'm using the ink pad to help kind of get some nice fine droplets. I'm going to clean off my mat, and I'm going to ink blend some more of the elements. These are parts of the tree. These are like the little holes in the tree. I probably could have cut it again out of black cardstock, which I had done already, but I really wanted it to kind of fade from gray to black instead of being just a solid black. I could have saved some ink on my fingers, but either way, it worked out in the end, and I like the way that it looked. I'm going to use that same Black Soot on the main tree portion as well, and I cut this out of some nice gray cardstock. I'm not 100% sure if this is Lawn Fawn or Simon Says or whichever, but I know it's just a nice light gray. It could be Slate from Simon Says, but either way, I just started with a nice light gray, and then I'm just inking along the edges of the tree to make it kind of look a little bit more dimensional. Again, give it some more interest. And then I'm going to also do some ink splattering on this one as well. And I just love how this tree turned out. I think it's so fun. You could create it for Halloween, for spring, for fall, for winter. And I went in to start with the I went in with some Black Soot Distress ink, and I wet it down. I used the regular Distress ink instead of the Oxide because I wanted it to be a little bit more crisp. I've noticed that whenever I do any kind of ink splattering with the Oxide, it's a little more faded, and I wanted it to stand out just a little bit more. So once that was all finished, I went ahead and let those things set off to the side to dry completely, and then I'm going to get right into my coloring. I pre-die cut all of my images ahead of time, just I guess to save some time. I thought maybe I would try it to see if I like coloring the little images, because sometimes my dies will slip and it'll ruin my already colored images. But either way, I pre-die cut them. I'm gonna go ahead and get right into the coloring. All of the Copics that I'm going to be using will be on the screen, and I'll put on some music, and when we're all finished, we'll come back and work on the card. Once all my coloring was finished, I wanted to work on my card base. I've got a slimline card base here cut to 8.5 by 7, and I scored it in half by 3.5. And I'm going to stamp on the inside using the MFT Itty Bitty Boos sentiment strips, as well as stamping one of the ghosts from the Hello Bluebird Frightful Little Bits set, the one that I used earlier. And I'm just stamping this down with some black ink. I think it's MFT Extreme Black ink. And I just chose one of the ghosts that I hadn't used on the front of my card. And I feel like this is a nice card for like a birthday, if you have somebody who has a birthday around Halloween or anything like that, because it says, "Hope your day is spooktacular." So I think that's great for a birthday card. Once I had that done, I went ahead and we're going to start getting our card assembled. So I was really pleased with the background, and I really was happy the way that it turned out, and I kind of fiddled and fussed quite a bit with the placement of all of my little images, and I tell you, I fussed with it for quite a while. Like, I kind of did it in my head off to the side, and then I did it before I started creating. I just used the dies and the stamps, and then I fiddled with it, let it sit. I walked away from it, came back, fiddled with it some more, till I was completely happy with where I wanted it placed. I had the idea in my brain of exactly how I wanted it to look, but whenever I got to the card, I just couldn't quite get it just right. So go ahead and fiddling with it, and then letting it sit and walk away and come back to it can really help you kind of get your idea solidified and really help you kind of imagine what you're going for. So that slimline tree die comes with this really fantastic border, which I think is great. I think it frames up the whole scene really nicely. So I just cut it out of black cardstock, and I really love the way that that looked. I really felt like it matted it without having to use more cardstock or having to cut down another panel or anything like that. I think it looked really, really cool. And it also helped me get my tree and my grass dies lined up perfectly as well. You don't have to use the grass. You could have ink blended the bottom to look like grass and then fade into your sunset. But I really like the idea of having the grass because everything fits together really nicely. And it's a somewhat flat card other than the couple of elements that I do pop up. Everything else is fairly flat, so it will meld really nicely. As you can see here, that tree just fits snugly right into that grass and then right along the edges of the nice black border. And I'm going to adhere that down nice and flat. If I wanted it to be more dimensional, I probably could have popped the tree up, and then the little holes in the tree, I could have adhered those flat. So I could have had like an area where I could tuck in all of my little elements, but hindsight's 20/20. But and then I couldn't remember where each of these little holes went, so I had to fuss with those as well. But once I got those in there, I was really pleased with the way that it was looking and my idea was coming together. This was probably one of my favorite Halloween cards that I've ever created, and I've only created a few, so I really loved the way that this looked, and I think it would turn out great for like a Christmas themed card, do kind of something similar. And here you can see I was finally pleased with where I got all of my little ghosts and bats adhered. Now I didn't color all of the bats or all of like the leaves on screen just because I used the same color combinations that I used earlier, so I didn't feel like I wanted to bore you guys with the same thing. So now I'm going to speed through this process here of me adhering everything. It's just, I didn't want to kind of bore you guys with watching me adhere all this, so I just sped through it quite a bit, and I'm just attaching those little lights. Those came from the Hello Bluebird Decks a Tree stamp set that they came out with right about the time they came out with this tree die set. It goes really well together, and I really wanted to add like something on the tree to make it look like they were all getting ready for the festive season, for Halloween, all those sorts of things. And I saw these Christmas lights and I thought, well, I could just color those in with Halloween colors and they could be Halloween lights. So I really like the way that this turned out. I love that you can mix and match sets from Hello Bluebird. It's very similar with Lawn Fawn, where all of their sets go really well together to mix and match. And I had a lot of fun making this card. It was so fun. So I'm really looking forward to using the same die and the elements that I have for the holidays, for Christmas holidays, to do another kind of fun card like this. Again, going through and adding all of my little elements here. I'm popping some of them up with some Scrapbook Adhesives 3D foam squares, and I'm also just adhering a few down with my liquid glue. Just to give the card some interest, you know, a little bit of height, a little bit of dimension. And then once I am happy with where all of those are placed, I'm going to go in and add a few embellishments and details. Another one of my favorite things to do with any kind of cutesy, cartoony characters is I love to add white gel pen detail. Now, this is completely optional. If you're not into that, you could totally leave it out. But I really like doing it, and I think it really adds some character and interest to the images. Adding some highlight details to the pumpkins, to the ghosts accessories, to the little bats, to his little lantern. And I think I went in with, I did do the lights as well, the candy corns, basically everything. And then I also went in with a black jelly roll pen and added highlights to their little eyes. That's another one of the things that I like to do. I really think it kind of brightens them up and gives them some character. And then I'm going to go in with my glitter brush pen and add some glitter. Oh wait, no, I didn't do that yet. I get so behind on what steps I did until I actually go through and start editing the video, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I didn't do that yet. So what I did first is I went in with these Doris silver sequin stars and added those all around the background just to about the point where the stars would kind of be hidden with the sunset. You probably could have added them the whole way down, but I wanted it to really look like a starry sky was starting to kind of come out. And then I'm going to go in with my glitter brush pen. I'm going to go in and add glitter to the light bulbs. I'm going to add it to his little lantern. And I'm also going to add it just to the one edge of the ghost, just to give them a little bit of interest and shine. I went back in with my white Jelly Roll pen, and I went in with the number 5 Jelly Roll white pen, and I added some highlight to the little bat's fangs so they stood out a little bit more. Then I went in with my Morning Dew Crystal Drops from Nuvo and went over top of all of the little light bulbs. I went over his little lantern and the glasses, and that will finish up this card for today. I really hope you enjoyed this card. If you did, please consider hitting the like button as well as the subscribe so you let YouTube know that you're enjoying all of the content that I'm bringing to you. Creating these Halloween cards is so much fun. I'm having such a blast with it. They're so creative and fun, and you can do so many different things with all of them, and I just love these little images from Hello Bluebird. I loved doing the ink blending. It turned out fantastic. Another great way to create a nighttime sky. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I can't wait to share with you the next videos coming your way, and we're gearing up for Stamptember, which again I am super excited for. Stick around for some of those great products coming your way as well. Again, I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch up with you guys again real soon. Bye!
On screen, I've got a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos at my YouTube channel.